Hi everyone, I'm Kathy Enright. I'm the Executive Vice President of the Food and Ag section here at Bio. And it's my pleasure to talk with Naomi Stevens, one of my colleagues from Bayer, one of our large ag plant members. So Naomi,
Hi, Kathy.
thanks so much for joining me today. What do you do at Bayer, and what is Bayer doing to help farmers and society as a whole with regard to biotechnology?
Well, Kathy, I am the Global Manager for a department we call Market Acceptance in our Seeds division of Bayer CropScience. So our Market Acceptance division is dealing with helping our products get to market, and it's evolved with certainly with the biotechnology work of the early 90s, and very much is related to dealing with the public issues around biotechnology products. And so we ensure that every member of the stakeholder chain, so from the regulators but right through to the consumers, are aware of our products coming to market and understanding that the benefits that they will bring. So there's a lot of communication, a lot of government affairs, a lot of working through our associations. So it's a really exciting role, and I've had the pleasure of doing that for quite a number of years. So. Your second part was about Bayer CropScience, and we certainly have been involved for the last 20 years in working with the crops, the major crops in biotechnology. So our core crops are in cotton, in canola, in soybeans. We also work in rice and other products. We've brought wheat research into the scenario as well in the recent years. So we're working very hard to bring new solutions to farmers through biotechnology, but also through all of the tools. So we look very much at biotechnology being part of the toolbox, and in amongst modern breeding activities, molecular breeding, a lot of bioinformatics. So it's a range of activities, and we need to balance that in terms of our market acceptance route as well.
So with the environment that we're currently in here in the United States, and certainly around the world in some regions, where market acceptance is a big challenge, what is Bayer doing today, and how has that evolved over the last 20 years?
Yes. Well, I mean, one of the key things that we do is, and have done over the last 20 years, is work very closely with our associations, so like Bio here in the US, and the equivalent associations, Europa Bio in Europe, and even AusBiotech in Australia, which is where I'm from originally. And so working through some of the public acceptance issues with a broad base, with a large range of credible voices in that area is a really critical part of bringing products to the market and doing it effectively and meeting consumer desires. So that's a really big part of the activity, and really that hasn't changed in 20 years. It's still just as important as ever. And we continue to actively engage in all of those global associations. Of course, CropLife International is a key part of that as well, and we see other associations like the ILSI, the Life Sciences Network, from a scientific perspective, the Food Information Network. There's a whole range, and a connection with the commodity groups and trade associations as well. So that's a really big part of achieving a better place for our business to come to the market. So and we try and do things, of course, on our own. We have particular interest in public-private partnerships, and working through particular countries. We do a lot in Germany, as we are a German-based company, and so we're very tapped into the European issues, but also understanding that these are global things that happen. So consumers pick up on these issues very quickly right around the world, and we need to be able to respond to them around the world. So what we do in one small country, even in Australia, can cause some amazing ripples for other parts of the world. And so using the networks that we have both within our company and within the associations is part of that.
That's great. It's a model. I think you serve as a model for the industry. I have a question about labeling. So we're in this environment now in the United States where over dozens of states are dealing with the requests for the challenges associated with mandatory labeling of biotech. What do you think the impact is going to be of all of that activity in the United States? And then how are countries abroad who are adopting biotechnology viewing what's going on in the States at the moment?
Yeah, well, to start with that one first, we know that from our global network that there is a lot of interest in what's happening in the US with labelling. And as I said, I mean, these topics are of global interest all the time. So governments, we know governments are certainly interested in how things are playing out, and consumer groups and others, public institutions and others. So that's really important. Whatever we do, we are setting a role model for the industry as well, and the US has long taken that role. And so that's important. And so I think how we present some of the solutions to these challenges is going to be picked up, and it's going to need to be refashioned and suited to other countries. Some of the activities and certainly our relationships through the value chain is just the same in other countries, and is important that we do work consistently and with credibility, and labelling is one of those things. So this is something that we're certainly keen to see the solutions brought and to see the public achieve the point of informed consumer choice. So that's really our goal, is whatever we can do, and I think labelling is just one piece of that. Yes, it's important, certainly for a food company it's critical, but for us, I see the greater goal of informed consumer choice and giving as many different information sources that meet consumer needs as part of that solution. So yeah, we'll do whatever we can to make that happen.
Great. I'd like to conclude our interview today with a question about Europe. So despite what's going on at the state level on the labeling discussions, the United States is still considered a fairly good environment in which to do biotech R&D and in which to commercialize products. How do we bridge the gap between our differences in the United States and the EU, which is not considered a very biotech-friendly environment in which to do business?
Perhaps at the, I guess I'd paraphrase that question at the friendliness is perhaps not there at the market end, but certainly at the research collaboration end, at the associations, where the gap is bridged. I mean, we're working very closely with all of those networks. We're making those bridges across the world, and I think then the next step is to say, how does that translate to the market reality, and how do we start to sort of enjoy the benefits of being able to use the same messages of success as we see in the US for the last 10, 15 years, and translate those into Europe, into parts of Africa, etc. And I think we're getting there. I guess it's a slow process. It's driven a little bit by the season. So I know cotton and the circumstances around bringing biotech to crops like cotton or papaya has been driven very much by environmental circumstances, by the fact that we just don't have the solutions without biotechnology, or by drought in the US. So some of those types of things that we have no control over would really enthuse us and motivate us to make things happen a little faster. So that's a collective role for I guess all of the industry players, and including the governments, the publics and NGOs that are involved in that. So I don't think we can necessarily push it any faster than it's going at the moment. I think we need to be ready to respond when these types of things happen, and I think so far in history we have. I mean, we delivered the cotton that was needed to save the industry, and in being able to respond quickly, and so that's good. But we can't rush basic plant breeding either. It's going to take its time to generate the varieties and get them through registration systems. So there's a little there's a time issue involved that we have to be realistic about. But being ready, and I think having the investment and the incentive to invest in the markets around the world is part of it as well. So, and I think that's where the associations like Bio helping us bring together mechanisms for post-patent activity, for bringing products to market and communicating benefits is so vital. So I guess Kathy, you've got a big role in that too, and I think it's just fantastic how we can work so well together.
Wonderful, thank you. Thank you, and thanks for joining us today. We've been spending time with Naomi Stevens from Bayer CropScience.